Hi folks, JOko here. I'm coming to you from Yangon, Myanmar, where I'm going to be doing a review of a Task 1 writing paper about anthropologists and pizza. No, it's not about pizza, but it is a copy, well, it was inspired by the infamous land degradation task, which was an official Task 1, like Cambridge 8 or 7, I think. Maybe Cambridge 8, if I'm not mistaken. And it's one I know very well. I've done several videos on the pie graph and table combination, which we see in this task, which was brought to us tonight by Amidabel. To the, there it is, pie graph, table. Just like the land degradation one. But, no, it doesn't have, well, you'll see, it doesn't have anything really that connects the two graphics, except for the fact that they're about anthropologists, or people who studied anthropology. So is there anything that links them? Well, let's analyze it. Okay, we got chart below shows what anthropology graduates from one university did, past tense, after finishing their undergraduate. The table shows the salaries of the anthropologists in work after 5 years. So past and more past. And then, of course, we have, I do like to combine my hobbies. I haven't been on the tips and tricks page much because of work, really. I spend so much time doing my my academic coordinator job. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features. Make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. Task 1. Oh, okay. Task 1 song next week. Okay. Here. So, what do we got? First of all, I always want to look to try to combine any of the features that I can. Now, in a two thing like this, it's not so important because you can organize your report quite easily by having one body paragraph be about the first graphic and the second one being about the second, and you should do that. However, the idea that you need to summarize, which is reduce the amount of words it takes to describe the data, means that combining categories is summarizing. Well, what do we got? We've got full-time work. Oh, it's more than half. That's a major feature right there. But look, we also have part-time work and post-grad study. And those two make up 15 and 5%, right? Yeah, 20. So almost 3/4 of them are working. We're going to assume immediately after, well, I shouldn't assume, but after graduation. Whereas a little more than 1/4 do other things, including unknown. I hope that's not reported. See, I haven't really looked at the candidate's paper when I do this analysis. So, what can we find out? Okay. Hence, they're all working. Okay, still want to combine categories. 3 are working, 3 are not. There you go. Now, the table. Now, in this table, there's not a huge, okay, we've got, there's a difference, similarity, difference. So, yes. So, but look, okay, so this is more money over here on the right, less money. So we can see that these people make less money than these people. Do these people differ much? Not really. First part of the chart is the same. And here it's just 5% difference. And look, 40-40, 50-30, that's 80. Yeah. So my overview and introduction would go like this. Yes. Yeah. Let's try there is a pie graph and a table which illustrate employment and income numbers for anthropology graduates from a certain university. Overall, it can be seen that nearly 3/4 of the graduates were working after completing their degrees, and that after 5 years, a large majority of them were in the higher income brackets. That's what I chose to do for my overview. How did our? Great. Resume. Here's our candidate's answer. All right, there's a pie chart which shows, hey, he's got my which, and good. All right, I like it. Which show, well, let's look at this more critically. Okay. What? Yes. Okay, so my code here, it's not written down anywhere. Yellow is lexical resources. Green is grammar. Blue is coherence and cohesion. Red is task achievement. Okay, now the reason I chose shows here is because the instruction says shows. If the instruction says shows, use illustrates. If the instructions say illustrate, use shows. Okay, the 5 destination categories. I think these are the only 5 things that they did. Does this cover everything? Only covers the numbers that they surveyed. And so we can't say it's the only one there, the only 5 that exist. And we haven't seen them before. So the article rule would be no article. Destination categories. Now, let's take a look at what the rules are for putting 2 nouns next to one another. Okay? See, nouns are like brothers and sisters. They don't like to sit next to each other unless they know each other very well. Well, anyway, and destination categories. No, it's not at all like anthropology graduates, which certainly do fit together. No, destination. I know it says destination in the chart, in the graphic, which is an even better reason not to use it. A destination of anthropologists and a table which illustrates. Oh, here's illustrates. Okay. See, I would have said there is a pie chart, and I did say there is a pie chart and a table which, and then find something that combines them together, which illustrates the earnings of those people. According to. No, you got the meaning of according to wrong. No, according to is like someone reported this. According to these numbers, means that these numbers show, yeah, it can't be according to 3 categories. Divided up. Denmark, divided up into 3 categories. Who have? The categories have experience? That's awkward. Okay, yeah, this who is not very well referenced to, back to the people. Who have 5 years of working experience. Well, okay, salaries of anthropology graduates after 5 years work. Okay, yeah, I guess so. I didn't see that part, actually, when I made that red earlier. Said. Okay, oh wait. Now, here we go. That's the introduction. It's too long. Where's the second one? Okay, here we go. Overall, it can be said, seen, that while most of the graduate students, now here we go. A graduate student has a definite meaning. It is a post-grad student, someone getting their master's degree. And here we're not talking about that. We're talking about people working. So that's it's not only poor collocation, it actually means something different. Prefer to work. Really? Do they prefer it? I don't see that. They work because they got to eat, because they have to earn money. But do they prefer it? Rather than go for further study. Now the reason this is red is the first commandment in task 1 is summarize. And by summarizing, you need to use as few words as possible. And do you need go for further here? No. Prefer to work rather than study. Okay, overall. Okay, while most of the graduates, now the second half of a while such and such, has to present a contrast, okay, to the first part. You could say while most of them would prefer to sit at home and do nothing, the majority of them work. Okay, so it has to contrast, and there is no connection between the two graphs. So while doesn't work here. There's almost no way to do it with a conjunction like that. Their salaries are More evenly distributed. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. Yes, I suppose. Work in private companies as opposed to other categories than any other category. Well, we only have 2 other categories. So any other category is not the correct phrase for it, as opposed to either of the other categories. Or as opposed to the other categories. More evenly distributed. That's a nice way to say it. I mean, if you're a boss. Okay. Come here. Click. Next slide. Okay. Here I did not bother with breaking it up. After finishing their bachelor's program, I don't know if bachelor's can be capitalized there, but anyway, more than half. Anthropologies. I must give you my anthropologies. Please accept my anthropologies. Anthropologists, and even then, we don't know that they are anthropologists. I would bet that considering there is not a big demand for professional anthropologists, that the majority, well, at least the ones working in the private sector, are doing something else. They're not actually being anthropologists. I have a sociology degree. I'm not a sociologist. Okay, sociologists end up. Why is it green? Oh, because this all happened in the past. Ended up, and even then that's kind of informal. Ended up, we're in the past, doing full-time job. Doing a full-time job, or full-time jobs, one or the other. Uh-oh, here comes the while again. Didn't we have that in the last paragraph? Yes, we did. While the proportion of students doing part-time jobs is 15%, students who cannot find employment. They're not students anymore, for one thing. They've graduated. Cannot find employment. Yeah, the unemployed. You don't have to paraphrase so much once you're out of the introduction. It's only in the introduction that it's really critical. Here you just call them unemployed. Is just slightly less. No, 3%. Just slightly less? 15 to 12. Well, that's 3%. That's 1/5 of the total. Anyway, in total, 13% of students, again, they're not students, decided, did they decide? To go for further study, either full-time or part-time. Really? 13. Either full-time or part-time. So full-time study is these little dots here, is 8%. Part-time study is, oh yeah, it is. Okay, that's a good combination. Looking at the wages of those graduates. Well, they're not necessarily the same graduates, I don't think. We certainly don't need to reference them that way. And salaries, not wages. While. Once again, we got while. And again, it sort of worked there, but not really. While 80%, yay, of those who decide. Once again, decide. You're overusing it, and do they really decide? Okay, I guess in this case they do. Decide to work as freelance consultants. Is that what it does? It says they are, oh yeah, freelance consultants, okay. Or in the public sector, okay, sure, or in the public sector. You know, private sector is very commonly used. It's, private sector jobs. But just here, government referred to as public sector. Yeah, it does happen. It's kind of rare, though, but sure. Earn more than or equal to, don't need that, $75,000. I don't think any of them, yeah, just say more than. Only 55% of graduates working in the private sector can earn that amount. Oh, public sector, private sector. Okay. Can earn, earned. Once again, past tense. It's by contrast, comma, by contrast, 20% working. These amounts are, the back end there is really confusing. So not every sentence needs to be a complex sentence. Not every sentence has to have a connector. Okay, like the by contrast here. By the time I get to where it's talking about the second part, I've forgotten that the by contrast was there. You need to tighten up your descriptions of the people you're talking about. Okay, in contrast to 20%. All right, let's just rewrite that last part. And don't start it with that. So it's like, the number, those earning. Now we can say those at this point because we know who we've been talking about. You've mentioned it in the first half of the paragraph. So those earning between 25, okay, those in the lower income brackets, maybe put that in parentheses, were or made up 45% of those, or made up 45% of all workers in the private sector, but by contrast, only 20% in the other two. Much shorter. Okay, and let's come to your questions now. Whoa, cool. Is my introduction too long? A little bit, yeah. How can I better say the intro? See mine. There is apparently not much connection between the pie chart and the table. Very good. Yes, there's not. How can I link them? Just by the anthropologists. Is my way of dividing up them up into two separate paragraphs correct? Well, of course. Yes, it's two items. So, yes, it does. It's at least a band 7 overview. It is. I have said 52% is more than half. Of course it is. Yes, it's more than half. Yeah, that's correct. Yes. I've used while, both pair 3, 4. Yes, there's so many different ways you can say other than while. It doesn't have to come at the start, and it must be contrasting, and it's not. And even if it isn't, if it does contrast, you could say whereas. Whereas and while are interchangeable. Am I right in thinking that those table and pie chart are talking about the same people? Not clear that they are. Might be, not really sure. Am I right to make the connection? No. Yeah, no, yeah, so no, you can't be sure about that. And, they've done the survey at one time and they find out where everybody's going to, where they're going after school, they graduate, and then they're running that test at the same time, and they go back and they look at the ones from 5 years before that. That's just as likely. It's not mentioned either way, so you can't say that, no. Oh, this is funny. You should ask that. I answered that question as I was reading. Should I write 50% graduates? No, that would be they're half graduated. Or 50% of graduates, yes. Okay, end of slideshow. Not bad, not bad. You've got some habits that you can obviously fix, and you're aware of them. Is it okay to use while 3 times? No, it's not. You should. Is there any other way to say while? Well, why are you saying while all the time? There's lots of other, and you don't have to beat the examiner over the head with your connections. If you look at when it talks about really good coherence, says that cohesive devices are used in such a way that they're not even noticeable. They don't stand out like that. Okay, so that's how you need to get to an 8. If you want to get to an 8. So tonight's song I'm going to be doing, it's a country song.